Welcome to the Drastic Results with Toni Harris-Taylor show.
To go to another level, you must try to learn and hear something new. So make a change today. So don't procrastinate and see your business grow and change. So check out Drastic Results, yeah, with Toni Harris-Taylor. Toni Harris-Taylor. Drastic Results, oh yeah, with Toni Harris-Taylor. Yeah, yeah.
Welcome to the Drastic Results with Toni Harris-Taylor show. My name is Toni Harris-Taylor, and I'm the CEO and founder of Drastic Results Marketing and Sales Coaching, where I teach my clients how to get known, get connected so they can get paid to make six figures and beyond. I also am an award-winning multi-unit franchise owner with Network in Action, where I bring business owners together to make connections, collaborations, and more cash. Today, we have an exciting show. I have a guest, a very special guest, Mr. Andy Henriquez with the Master Storyteller. So let's talk about telling stories. One of the things I learned from being associated with Andy and his coach Star, who's my dear friend, is that stories sell. Stories sell, facts tell. And you must have a compelling story when you are marketing yourself and closing more sales. So recently, Andy and I were at a conference where the keynote speaker was Marcus Lemonis, the Prophet. And I love the Prophet. In 2015, when I was recovering from my coma, I binge watched The Prophet. And one of the things that he always talks about is you have to tell your story. And so many people don't want to share their story, especially the ups and the downs in their story. And what happens is you end up not making a genuine connection to your prospect. So I don't want to steal all of Andy's thunder, but I am a big believer in storytelling when not only when you are in the sales conversation, but also with your networking. Who you are and what you do should be a story, not just a telling, but sharing your story. So we're going to hear from Andy Henriquez, the Master Storyteller, when we come right back.
International speaker, marketing and sales coach, owner of Network in Action franchise, TV talk show host. I help entrepreneurs get known, get connected, get paid to make six figures and beyond. This is Toni Harris-Taylor.
She got me really motivated.
I learned something that I could immediately put to use.
Register today to get the connections you international speaker.
I decided to start this. Everyone told me I was crazy. You're going to bootstrap, a little Uber endeavor against Yellow Cab. And I said, yeah, I am. We're going to do it one member at a time, one person at a time.
I love our tagline. Our mission statement is building relationships that are going to last a lifetime.
It's not about what you can get. It's about helping enough people get what they want, and they will give you what you want. That's why our guarantee is so brilliant.
So, there's definitely profit I'm making, and there's definitely, something I'm making out of this, but it's still, everyone wants to help each other, to just help each other grow.
If I ever get tired of helping people, then shame on me.
I feel in my heart we're going to hit a home run. I really feel like this is going to be a multinational company in short order. And in our last business, we had always talked about starting a foundation someday. So I told my wife, I said, we're going to do it backwards this time. We're going to start the giving part first. And so if you think about it, at the core of building relationships is, what's in your heart. And so we look for that in our members. And that makes us fundamentally different than other organizations that just take a check.
And it makes me super happy that I'm going to have an impact on somebody, professional, personal, whatever it is.
So that's the beauty in Network in Action. I wake up every day and all I have to do is stay focused on helping people.
All right. I always love that commercial. Not because I'm in it, but it just really tells the heart of who we are. So, welcome to the stage, my very special guest, Mr. Andy Henriquez, the master storyteller. Welcome, sir.
Hey, Tony, how are you? I'm so excited. I heard so many great things about your show, and I'm happy that I finally get to be here with you and your amazing viewers. So, what's up? How are you?
I am wonderful, and I'm just happy you are here. You're a legend in my mind. I finally got to meet you in person. I walked up to you and I held up my name tag so you know
You sure
who I
did.
was.
You sure did. And right away, I was like family because I'd heard so many great things about you and also know the amount of people you've been able to impact just through your network in action and just how you're just such a big proponent of making sure that people build genuine connections and so forth. And so, as your good friend has brought you up to me so many times before. And not only that, but we had the beauty and the luxury to actually have the legend herself, right? Toni attend our Master Storyteller Academy. So that was pretty awesome, pretty remarkable. And so I'm here. I'm excited so we can share with the community and see if we can create some value and get some people to look at their stories differently. And also, monetize their stories, find a way to connect their stories to their bank account.
Absolutely. One thing we all have in common is a story. And many of us had been through unfortunate situations, but that just has made us better for who we are today in our businesses. And so, Andy, let's start with, how do you help those people who might be slightly ashamed to tell their story?
Yeah, it's so crazy because, I think unfortunately with so many people that they don't realize that the real treasure, the real lessons are inside of those stories. And oftentimes those stories that on the surface, they may feel a little ashamed to share and talk about, right? There's a quote that I remember hearing one time, and here's what it said. It says, when you lose, don't lose the lesson. And so one of the things that I want to share with people all the time, and I need to get them to understand, is that whatever pain you experience, that pain is associated with your purpose. Whatever breakdown that you went through is only setting you up and preparing you to be able to provide a breakthrough for somebody else. And this crazy setback, as Dr. Willie Jolly would say, is only a setup for a comeback, but not a comeback just for you, but a comeback for other people. And I think that one of the things that's happened, Toni, is that so often, like, we get this misconception in our minds to think that when we are sharing and telling our stories, that we've got to basically show up as the superwoman or as the superman. And it's all about, sharing all of our amazing accomplishments and how great we are. But the reality of it is, when we start off sharing our stories from that place, the people who are listening, they're what I like to refer to in their valley experience. So they're in the process of going through their difficulty. And for those of you that are listening in right now, you fill in the blank. They're going through the difficulty in their relationships, in their finances, in their health. And maybe they're trying to figure out, how do I get on purpose? How do I lose the weight? How do I get in a happy, fulfilling relationship? How do I make more money? They're in the valley trying to figure those things out. So when we show up and we only want to share our mountaintop experiences, what I like to refer to, right? We say that, oh, I'm in amazing shape. I'm in a happy, fulfilling relationship. I'm making all this money. The people who are in the valley, they're looking up and they're saying, okay, that's great for you, but what does that got to do with me? And so one of the things that we got to learn how to do is we've got to leverage our stories to meet people down in the valley, to meet them where they're at, to let them know that I understand what it's like to be struggling in a relationship. I know what it's like to be trying to figure out how I'm going to pay the bills. I know what it's like to be in an unhappy, unfulfilling relationship. Like, you got to get them to understand that you know what it's like. And then now that you've built the connection and rapport, now we start sharing with them how we had the ability to come out of the valley. Right. And here's the beautiful thing, Toni, that one of the natural questions that they're going to have in their mind is, how did you do it?
Right.
Like, how did you do it? When they see that you were where they were at, and not only can you connect with them where they're at, but you were able to get out of the valley, their question is always going to be, how did you do it? And that's the perfect setup. That's the perfect opportunity for us to then be able to share with them our products, our services, our system, our framework for helping them to get out of the valley and make their way back onto the mountaintop.
I love that. Today I had a conversation with someone and she saw my post last week where I said in 2018, I begged up on a part-time job as an admin at a community college. I drove Uber. I borrowed my daughter's car because my car didn't qualify to drive Uber. And I kind of had forgotten about that part of my story. And so she said she was so moved by seeing, because she's in the valley right now. She said, I was so moved by seeing that there is a way out. And that was her question. How did you get out? So thank you so much for reiterating that. Let me ask you this, though. How did you know stories a master storyteller was your brilliance?
Yeah, so Toni, here's the thing. I was like the furthest thing away from being a master storyteller. I was working as a CPA, an accountant for one of the big 4 public accounting firms. I grew up in this Caribbean household, pretty much followed the script. I was told, go to school, get a good education, get a good job. I did that. Went to school at Florida State University. I graduated summa cum laude. I stayed an additional year. I got my master's degree in corporate accounting. While I was in the master's program, I studied for the CPA exam. And then I landed a job in one of the big 4 public accounting firms, company by the name of PricewaterhouseCoopers. And so here I am, I'm working with this amazing company. I got every reason to do well, and yet I'm miserable, right? I'm waking up every day, Toni, to the sound of an alarm clock. I'm jumping out of my bed. I'm getting in my car. I'm fighting traffic to get to a place in which I knew that something inside me was saying, Andy, there has got to be more than this. And for about a year and a half, I thought about taking a chance on myself. I thought about like going after my goals, my dreams, my purpose, becoming an entrepreneur. But here's what I did for a year and a half. I would talk myself into taking a chance on myself and then talk myself right back out of it. And so there's probably a lot of people listening in right now. There's something you've been wanting to do, you've been meaning to do, and you talked yourself into it and you talked yourself right back out of it. And so for me, Toni, December of 2004 became my defining moment because that was the time that I finally decided to act on faith as opposed to fear. And I left my corporate job. I wish I could tell you I knew exactly what I was going to do. I did not. I just knew that I couldn't do that anymore. And there's probably some people who could relate where you didn't know what was next, but you just knew that what you were doing, you couldn't do that anymore. And I was at least smart enough, Toni, because I know you are huge on networking.
Yes.
But I was at least smart enough to understand that I needed to tap into some new networks, that I needed to make it into different rooms. I need to get in close proximity with other people. And so I started going to seminars and workshops. And at one of those workshops, there was this gentleman at the front of the room, high energy, charismatic. And I just watched the way that he connected with the audience and the way that he commanded the room. And I remember at the end of his session running up to the front and saying, excuse me, sir, my name is Andy Henriquez. I would love to just learn how to be able to communicate. If do you have any coaching programs? And he directed me to the back of the room, Toni, which, by the way, his program director was your good friend, Star Babatune.
Oh, wow, I've never heard this.
Star Babatune. Over 15 years ago. And then Star handed me this 3-page brochure, Toni, and I was excited. I was like, I'm gonna learn how to become a speaker, a coach, an entrepreneur. This is it. And then I flipped to the final page and I was like, ooh, woo, somebody made a typo on here. I was like, I think they done added an extra 0. Because when I looked at the tuition, it said 30,000, $30,000. Like, I thought it was like a $3,000 program. It was $30,000. So I went missing, Toni. I was not picking up the phone. Your poor friend, Star Babatune, was calling me in the morning. She called me in the afternoon. She called me at night. I was not picking up the phone. But here's what happened, Toni. That gentleman who was at the front of the room says, hey, whatever happened to that young man who said he wanted to get the coaching? She said, I've been calling him. He's been ghosting me. He hasn't picked up the phone. So then my phone rings from a number I don't recognize, Toni. And when I pick up the phone, here's what I hear. hey, what's going on, young man? This is Les Brown, maybe Brown's baby boy, pride and joy. How you doing, my man? I was like, Les Brown? Les Brown, one of the top 5 speakers on the planet. Les Brown, who has spoken to audiences in excess of like 60,000 people. Les Brown, who's made over $53 million speaking professional. Les Brown is on my phone. I was freaking out. And in that conversation, we unpackaged some things, Toni, because my mindset was limited at the time. And all I could focus on was the money. And in so many words, one of the things that he shared with me, and I would love for everyone to write this down, is he's like, you got to invest at the level in which you expect results. My friend Trevor Otts.
Say it again.
Yeah, my friend Trevor Otts, who is the CEO of Black CEO, he had a statement that now I could go back and process what Les Brown was so much saying, but the one who put it in the best sentence ever was my buddy Trevor Otts. Here's what he said. You have to invest at the level in which you expect results. And I'm going to tell you something right there, Toni. I had these big dreams and big aspirations, but I tell you, at that time, I was highly incongruent because I had only made small investments. I bought a little ebook here, a little online course there. I hadn't made any significant investments in myself. And then as the conversation progressed, I was like, well, let me go figure it out. I'm going to figure out how to get this money, and then I'll commit. And I realized that was another error in my thinking, because what I realized was that I needed to commit and then figure it out. So thank God, before we hung up the phone, I said, I don't know where I'm gonna get this entire 30 grand from, but what I do know is I could come up with 10,000. I'm gonna commit now and I'm gonna figure it out. And let me tell you something, I was able to figure it out. And as a result of that, over the years, having an opportunity to be mentored and coached under Les Brown, I learned how to be able to craft and share stories. I learned how to leverage those stories to create and build my own platform, my own speaking business. And I've had the opportunity to speak for companies like Bacardi, Pratt & Whitney, Accenture, NASA, Google. And the beautiful thing is, I absolutely love the fact that today I get an opportunity to work with entrepreneurs, speakers, and coaches. And I show them how to craft powerful stories that, number one, helps them to get the attention of their ideal customer and client.
Right.
Number two, to connect with them emotionally. And then number three, to convert them into paying customers or raving fans. And so it has been like crazy to go from being like the CPA to the master storyteller. But now nothing brings me greater joy than to either be delivering and sharing stories to impact and change people's lives, or empowering entrepreneurs, speakers, and coaches who are purpose-driven, have things that they want to do, but they know they could get it to the next level if they could show up with more confidence and more clarity, and if they knew what to say and how to say it, right? And so that's what we equip them with. We equip them with the ability to be able to share their message with confidence so that they could connect with the people that they know they're supposed to be doing business with. But I didn't know you know that story, Toni. It was crazy. It was crazy. Star would tell you I was ghosting her, by the way.
I'm going to have to ask her about that. You know, my statement about investing in yourself is you have to invest in yourself at the level you want to charge somebody.
Yes.
Ooh, you'll never be able to charge more than you are willing to invest in yourself.
I tell you this, Toni, I think that is built entirely on congruency. Yeah. And here's what happens. There are so many people who have gifts, skills, and talents. And then when it is time for them to offer those gifts, skills, and talents and enter a sales conversation, they shrink. And part of the reason why they shrink in the conversation is because they don't feel congruent. Because sometimes they are making an offer at a price point in which they have never invested themselves.
That's
and
right.
One of the fastest ways to get to a place of congruency is to invest at the level in which you expect the results, and also to invest at a level that you are going to be absolutely okay with the fact that you didn't turn around and make an offer to somebody else at the same price point, because you can feel congruent that you've actually made an investment at that price point.
Absolutely.
And that congruency is everything. And I think without that congruency, that we start shrinking and we don't fully own our power, and we miss out on opportunities to be able to impact other people's lives because we end up having that narrative going on in our minds, and that narrative has everything to do with a lack of congruency.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back, and I'm going to ask you 2 key questions I always ask my guests. And then there's another piece of information you and I have in common I don't think you know. So
Awesome.
We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back with more Mr. Andy Henriquez.
I love it.
How many of you know that being able to show up is very important? Raise your hands, please. I want to introduce you to a very inspiring young man.
I remember going to one of the first conventions, just seeing those speakers on the stage, hearing their stories, and watching how they impacted the audience. And I was like, I want to be the guy on the stage.
Right now, this inspiring young man is my future. His name is Andy Henriquez. And he's a young man who has a passion, who has a voice to empower people, to inspire them, to pursue their dreams and to get out of their head into their greatness. Give him a round of applause. Andy Henriquez! I believe that there's a lot of people that they fail to show up because they count themselves out prematurely. They want to write the book. They want to start the business. They want to create a shift in their career. They want to have a happy, fulfilling relationship. They want to be married again. Maybe they went through a marriage, had divorce. They have this thing that they want to do, and then they find themselves saying, well, how am I going to do it?
You see, my parents are originally from the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. They came here from Haiti. They said, Andy, the key to success is to go to school, get a good education, and get a good job, which I knew that something inside of me was saying there's got to be more than this.
He comes from his spirit and from experience. It's nothing canned with him.
He can connect regardless of who's in the audience.
Your business, your life will only grow to the extent that you do. A big dream does not appear in a small life. You want a big dream? You have a big dream? Expand your capacity.
He impacts the mind. He touched the heart because we are emotional beings. And he ignites the spirit.
George Bell has a quote that I love. Here's what he said. He said, you can pretend to care, but you can't pretend to show up. I mean, if you think about that, that applies to every level in your life, right? So a father can pretend to care about their child or their children, but they can't pretend to show up. That's one of those things that you cannot fake. Either you do or you don't.
So I had never seen that video. First of all, how old is your daughter now?
So my daughter's 6 now.
So I don't know if you know how congruent you and I are, because my saying is show up, be up, follow up to blow up.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
And so you and I are both talking about showing up. So that leads me to my question. How has networking helped your business?
Man, I tell you this, and I got to say this first because I think it's so important for your audience. Toni, one of the things I would say that one of my biggest regrets is how I have under-leveraged networking in the past. Oftentimes, I would put myself in a silo and be trying to figure things out on my own. And I wasn't being very intentional about getting in the right rooms, about building and fostering relationships, strategic, collaborative relationships, supportive relationships. And I think that that really allowed me and caused me to miss out on many great opportunities. Now, the one thing I can say, though, is I have been able to make up for some of those past transgressions because, thank God, you know, I've come to understand the importance of networking. And, you know, what's interesting is even in that video clip that you just showed, you know, my connection with Les Brown came through somebody else. It was just a young lady that I was catching up with. We were talking on the phone. It's like long time no talk and everything. She's like, what are you up to now? I said, I'm really, I want to become a speaker. And I said, I'm starting to study people. She said, like who? I was like, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, and Les Brown. She said, oh, really? Well, Les Brown was at my church this past Sunday. I said, oh, okay, cool. The following week, my phone rings. It's the young lady on the phone. She says, hey, what's up? I said, I'm good. Everything all right? She said, yeah, I want you to talk to somebody. She clicks over and she puts me on the phone with Les Brown.
Wow.
I was in Fort Lauderdale, Florida at the time, and Les was going to be doing a training in Orlando, Florida. And he invited me to come up to Orlando, which was a 3-hour drive. Had she not been there, had she not made that connection, who knows when I would have eventually connected with Les Brown to end up changing the trajectory of my life. And then the other thing is that clip that you just showed also showed multiple direct sales companies.
Yes.
Les Brown then connected me with a woman by the name of Dr. Tracy Lynn that you recently had an opportunity to connect with.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Tracy Lynn had a direct sales company at the time, and she brought me in as a speaker. But listen, Dr. Tracy Lynn became one of the chair members for the Direct Selling Association.
Right.
And then she brought me into the Direct Selling Association. And from there, I ended up getting many direct sales companies as my clients, all of which was based off of relationships, all of which was through networking. And it is unbelievable, the story after story after story and the drastic results that have come as a result of networking. And that's why I so love what you do through your amazing Network in Action franchise, and the way that you're empowering the people who are part of that, and just the way that it's absolutely transforming people's lives, right? And so I just love also the synergy, right? You're teaching people how to network, how to be able to create better results.
Yes.
And then I realized that as they're trying to create those results, they got to get better at being able to share what it is that they do and how their ideal customer and client can benefit from those things. And oftentimes that's going to come from them learning how to really be able to share the story of their products, the story of their services, the story of the results that they produce, the story of what their personal journey has been on. And until they're able to unleash that story, they are missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yes.
Because they're missing out on clients and they're missing out on opportunities because they're not clearly articulating how they can help people or what their products and services have the ability to do.
Yes, and we're going to talk about your upcoming challenge. So one more question and then we'll talk about the challenge. What's been the biggest drastic step you've taken in your business?
Yeah, so the biggest I'll say two things. Number one was investing at levels that were beyond my comfort zone. That first started over 15 years ago when I made my first investment at $30,000 outside of college into a personal development program. That stretched me, but I can look back and say that that was a drastic leap, but that also created drastic results, right? Had I not made that initial investment and change my belief system and acquire skills and so forth, I would have never had the opportunity afterwards to impact literally millions of lives. I mean, there's one of the stories that was highlighted in that video on Facebook alone. It was featured by Goldcast and it has 5.9 million views and it's been translated in different languages, right? I had no idea back then, but I needed to have taken that drastic step, right, before I ever got drastic results like that. And then also during COVID, we pivoted at that time. We had to make a decision and we decided that we were going to go completely virtual in our business. We were accustomed to doing live events. Everything was live. We went virtual. And not only did we go virtual, but the year we went virtual, we also scaled to a 7-figure mark in our business. So it was a drastic adjustment, but it also created drastic results for us, right? And so one of the things that most people have to realize is oftentimes their next level is going to literally be on the other side of them taking some type of a drastic step, some type of drastic action. But those types of drastic action and drastic steps is what ultimately produces the drastic results.
I love that you are just throwing my word out there. And I love that you're embracing it and that you get it. The one thing you and I have in common that I don't think you know is that I have a Goldcast video as well.
Yes.
And it has 5.6 million views. So
What? I love it.
1,000 views. But I do, and it's been, it was an amazing story, if you will. But I just wanted you to know we have that.
That is so awesome. I can't wait to watch it.
I'll send it to you.
You better.
Let's talk about the Unleash Your Story Challenge coming up.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. Listen, so here's the thing. I have my Unleash Your Story Challenge. This is specifically, first of all, who is this for? This is for the entrepreneur who wants to up-level their game. And you know that you're passionate about your products, you're passionate about your services, but if you could do a better job of talking about your products and services, if you could do a better job of communicating the thing that you're passionate about, you're going to produce bigger results in your business. This is for the coach. You're a good coach, but you need more coaching clients. And if you could do a better job of telling the story and getting your ideal coaching client to know that you know what it's like to be sitting in their shoes, that you have experienced similar struggles, but most importantly, you found the results, which are basically the solution, your coaching services. This is also for the person that you're working a 9-to-5 and you have a desire to become an entrepreneur, a speaker, and a coach, but you need that more confidence and clarity. And I believe that one of the number one ways to help you to up-level everything that you're doing, whether you're a speaker, a coach, an entrepreneur, in direct sales, you have a ministry, is to unleash your story. What does that mean? That means understanding and tapping into fully the power of your story, understanding how to craft that story, understanding how to position that story, and understanding how to monetize that story so that you can get more customers, more clients, and make more money. So if you would love to up-level your game this year, I would love to extend a special invitation for you to join me for my Unleash Your Story Challenge. Like, we could not have had this session at a better time because the challenge is taking place next week, but you want to grab your spot right now. The challenge is free. It is free. It is a 3-day challenge. It is called the Unleash Your Story Challenge. And over those 3 days, number one, I'm going to help you with, first of all, understanding how to position your story. Second day, we're going to talk about exactly finding the story that's going to generate the most amount of money for you. And in day 3, how you leverage the story. But here's what I know. The fact that you are watching this segment right here means that you're into drastic results. If you're into drastic results, the challenge is free, but I am going to strongly suggest that you join me at the VIP level. Now, by the way, just so you know, VIP is only $97. I bet you thought I was going to say something else, but let me tell you everything you're going to get as a VIP. As a VIP, every single day of the training, you're going to participate in the live VIP Q&A session. It is in that VIP only session each day that I break down many of the same frameworks that my coaching clients pay me over $25,000 to get access to, okay? So we've heard from people over and over again, Andy, the challenge was phenomenal, but the conversations that happen in the VIP sessions, the things that you're breaking down for us in the VIP Q&A sessions is unreal. Way beyond the value that I ever imagined I was going to get from being a part of this challenge. In addition to that, as a VIP, you're going to get access to all of the recordings because you're going to want to go back and reference some of the things that we're sharing. In addition to that, as a VIP, you're going to unlock a bonus day 4 masterclass. During that masterclass, I'm doing real-time hot seats. So right now, currently, my clients that do VIP days with me, they pay $25,000. And I'm going to basically be doing the same thing that I do with my $25,000 clients, which is pull some people up, pull their story out, and redo their story real time. Whether you get to be on the hot seat or observe the hot seat, the lessons that you're going to learn from watching how I reconstruct people's stories and the feedback that I provide is a game changer. And that's only for the VIPs. That's a bonus day 4 masterclass. And then one more thing you get as a VIP, that Goldcast video where I share a story about my mom, that on Facebook alone has 5.9 million views and has been translated in different languages. There's a specific framework that I use when I share and tell that story. And I'm going to give you a PDF document that literally allows you to plug and play your story into the same framework that I use to be able to craft and deliver a story that ended up going viral and getting millions of views. And so first and foremost, you want to make sure you join me for the challenge. So real quick, if you look right across the screen, and the team will be dropping the link, it's bit.ly, right? So bit.ly/Toni and Andy, right? So once again, that's bit.ly, right? So bit.ly/Toni and Andy. So you want to use that link and go ahead and secure your spot first for the Unleash Your Story Challenge. And if you want drastic results, like seriously, go ahead and upgrade to the VIP. You're going to get over $1,000 of additional value for only $97. So the challenge
is a great deal.
But if you want drastic results, join me in the VIP.
I love it. I love it. And I've been through his master storyteller class. It's amazing. He just regurgitated my story. He heard it once and regurgitated it, made it so much better. It's worth the $97 to go ahead and get that hot seat, or at least be in the room while he is hot seating with people. Andy, this time went fast. This is my longest show to date, but it's gone by so fast. It's been worth every minute. I want to say thank you so much for showing up and pouring into my audience, because they need what you have. And your story is worth money, y'all. I don't care what you think about it. It is worth money. Andy will help you to construct that story to help you to get to your $1 million business. So thank you so much, sir. And we're
Toni,
excited.
Thank you. And thank you for the way that you are holding the space and you're creating an environment so that us entrepreneurs who want to up-level our game, or people who are working a 9-to-5 that want to up-level their profession, thank you for creating the space where we could build these relationships and build these connections so that we can start creating drastic results in our lives. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to everybody who's tuning in, who's joining us for the Unleash Your Story Challenge. Once again, it's bit.ly/Toni and Andy. Looking forward to you guys joining me.
Capital T, capital A. So, but I'm going to drop it in each of the comments, because I see a couple of comments here. People want it. But so I'll drop it in the comments and I'll send private messages. Let's get you there. It's going to change your life. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
We're going to close out now because we are over time. We're going to close out, and we're going to invite you to my upcoming webinar, which is February 23rd, Thursday, February 23rd. Is your networking not working? So many people, you go networking, you pass out a bunch of business cards, you go home, you sit and wait for the phone to ring, and nothing happens. I'm going to break that cycle with my webinar, Networking Not Working. So you see it scrolling, bit.ly/capitalize networking not working webinar. I can't wait to see you there. I'll also drop that link in all the chats so that you can get registered for that. And there is a VIP option there as well, which actually it's a $97 VIP option. It gets you a Q&A call with me on the next day after my webinar. It gets you my brand new planner, Drastic Results Planner. I got this virtual background, but I've got a marketing and networking planner you can get. You can also get a ticket, $100 off the viral networking conference ticket. So $100 off for a 97 VIP, that just makes plain sense, right? So, but you got to be in it to win it. And as Andy says, you got to show up for your life. As I say, you got to show up for your success. You got to be in it to win it. This is Toni Harris Taylor saying, take a drastic step today for a fantastic tomorrow. And I'll be posting links just as soon as we say goodbye. See y'all next week. Bye.